because of computer problems, staffing shortages, and bad weather. American Airlines also grappling with a surge in delays and has trimmed its schedule through mid-July, at least in part, because it doesn't have enough pilots, according to the pilots union. Travelers have been venting their frustration online, posting photos of long airport lines and describing painful flights. Rich Thomason reporting.
Tyson Foods announcing a voluntary recall. The company recalling 8.5 million pounds of chicken products that could possibly have been tainted by harmful bacteria from their Dexter, Missouri plant. The chicken products produced between December 26, 2020 and April 13, 2021. With business, I'm John Scott.
News and analysis at townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters in Washington.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's weather forecast. A few more clouds roll in this evening. We'll have a low dipping down to 69. Now look for 94 again tomorrow for our high with a 20% chance of some afternoon thunderstorms. It'll be pretty isolated. For Wednesday and Thursday, well, the rain chances, they increase. High temps in the upper 80s for you. I'm Kevin Cohen with your On Point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, fireplaces. Summer sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point. Please press button now. I said to, genius.
This is Sports Talk with Phil Kornblum, Chris Bergen, and Pat Daniel. Sports Talk is heard across the state on radio affiliates of the Sports Talk Media Network and is streaming live on sportstalksc.com, as well as Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. The South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to call in is 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now, here are Phil, Chris, and Pat with tonight's edition of Sports Talk.
All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome in live. Sports Talk on this July 5, 2021. Hope you had a great holiday weekend, which is continuing for some. For some of us, it's a work like a dog day. And that's your good friends here at Sports Talk. We put together another great show. And when I say that, I mean we take your phone calls. Coming off this holiday weekend, 888-898-2525, South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number. Plenty of things to talk about. That's why we do a show on a holiday Monday night, because things are going on. Things are popping. The Gamecocks got 2 commitments over the weekend. Well, one on the weekend and one today, both from Georgia. The one today, Felix Hickson. Did you know, Chris Bergen, while you were sunning your backside and your front side and your side on the beaches of Jacksonville down at Ponte Vedra, as you played the Players Club down there, and Birdie, the famed number 17 island hole,
knocked it within 3 feet.
The Gamecocks have moved all the way up to number 16 nationally in the 247 Sports ranking composite, and I believe in Rivals, I got to double check this, I think they're number 12 in Rivals. That's a long way from the 80s where they were before all this began. So.
And Phil, if I'm not mistaken, they are also the hottest moving team in the SEC. I saw a ranking last week, for what it's worth, that said the Gamecocks have climbed higher than any other team in the Southeastern Conference. And whether you buy into the rankings or not, clearly there's a lot of momentum around what Shane Beamer and his staff are doing right now on the recruiting trail. Whether or not it pays off on down the line remains to be seen, but you've got to get the guys in to play first off, and it appears they are certainly on a really good start there.
Well, it's a feel-good time for South Carolina because they haven't lost any football games, and this is all positive news. No players have gotten in any trouble, and the stuff that folks have been hearing the entire month of June coming out of the mouths of not just the recruits, but their families who've been in, the stuff has been extraordinarily positive. And then the stuff coming out of the mouths of the coaches from the head coach on down all that stuff has been extraordinarily positive. So it's a feel-good time. Now, of course, you got to be careful not to get caught up in fool's gold if you're a Gamecock fan, because all the social media hype is great in June and July, but it looks pretty foolish come September if you start losing football games, especially teams that maybe you've got a chance to beat. That leads me into our poll question of the week. Our poll question of the week on our website, sportstalksc.com, and on Twitter at SportsTalkSC. It's a popular one in less than a day, 289 votes already in. And so the Gamecocks in September will play Eastern Illinois, at East Carolina, at Georgia, and Kentucky. What will their record be coming out of September? And you say, sir?
Boy, I read this over the weekend, and I've been pondering on it back and forth. I'm going between the 2-2 and 3-1. I think the swing game there, I do believe, obviously, I think everybody believes they win the opener. I think they go to East Carolina. It will not be easy, but I think they win that game. I just cannot see them at this point in time winning at Georgia. I love the optimism. 6% of you out there, God bless you, 4-0 would be tremendous. No question about that for them to go to Georgia and win, and then follow that up with a win at Kentucky. I think the Kentucky game is a swing game for them for this entire upcoming season. If they want to get to 7-8 wins, don't you think that's a game obviously they have to have? They've got to come out of September at 3-1. They can't be 2-2 through September and then hope to be able to reel off 6 wins, 5 or 6 wins the remainder of the schedule.
Yeah. It seems like Kentucky always is a swing game because and I'm sure for Kentucky, they look at South Carolina as a swing game because
no doubt
both sides feel like they're going to win that game. And it could go either way. And they usually play close games. And it's been kind of a series where one side will win a few years in a row, the other side will win a few years in a row. So, yeah, that becomes a huge game at home. If they can go 3-1, I mean, they need to go 3-1 if they're going to have a chance at a better than 500 season. So as far as the polling goes, you touched on it, 289 votes thus far, and 50.5% believe the Gamecocks will go 3-1. And I think most Gamecock fans would sign up for that right now. That means 3-1, you beat East Carolina on the road, you lose to Georgia, you beat Kentucky at home, you're 1-1 in the SEC after the first month, and you're feeling pretty good about yourself going into October. 34.6% have them at 2-2. So if the two are East Carolina and Eastern Illinois, you kind of take that down with, okay, that's about where we're supposed to be if you're a Gamecock fan. That's about where we should be, 2-2. Nah, not great, but better than the alternative. And then 8.7% say 1-3. I'm giving Eastern Illinois, that's a given, I would think, an FCS team that's really kind of struggled. I would hope that's a given. And as you mentioned, a hearty 6.2% think the Gamecocks will win all 4.
I love it. And why not? It's July 5th. Why not feel great about your team? But I am curious, Phil, how much the optimism of USC fans has maybe changed, improved over the last month or so. Had we asked this exact same question last month at this time, long before some of the recruiting momentum was beginning to build, would Gamecock fans be more inclined to say, 2-2, if we can pull out those 2 games we're supposed to win and maybe just don't get embarrassed at Georgia and play Kentucky close and lose it late or find a way to, somewhere in that neighborhood, would we have more fans saying 2-2 and 1-3 a month ago than we have right now?
Yeah. Well, the poll is there, so feel free to dive into it and share your thoughts with your vote. Meantime, our lines are open, 888-898-2525, South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number for you here on Sports Talk. Our lines are open. They'll be open all night. We've got nothing planned outside of our own comments and opinions and observations about things, so we'd love to hear from you. 888-898-2525, South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number. Did you know that since 2002, more than $2.2 billion in lottery proceeds have been used to fund life scholarships for the state's college-bound students? You can learn more about the South Carolina Education Lottery's impact at seeducationlottery.com/education wins. And playing for fun is a win for education. So we've got a lot in recruiting we'll be getting to coming up in our second half hour, so stay tuned for that. We've got our baseball report tonight around the horn. Mr. Bergen has got something there for us. The Braves opening up the series tonight in Pittsburgh after surviving a tough series with Miami, but they
How about the
managed
win
to win that
yesterday?
series, huh?
How
Yeah.
about the win yesterday? And that's what my nugget is a little bit later on when we go around the horn. It's going to be an amazing stat. And for those of you who like the DH and think the National League is, in the Stone Age still because pitchers have to bat, you'll want to stick around for this. But that comeback win yesterday has moved Atlanta back to second place in the division. They're 3.5, 4 games back of the Mets. Here we sit, middle of July. I was concerned back a couple of weeks back. Was it too soon to start to panic about the Braves? And lo and behold, they get a nice series win over the Marlins. They get Pittsburgh here this week, as you pointed out, starting tonight. Maybe things are starting to turn the corner a little bit for Atlanta, and they may pull out the NL East once again, as they seem to always do.
Here's a good trivia question for you. So Max Fried got the walk-off hit yesterday for the Braves.
Mm-hmm.
Max Fried is starting tonight for the Braves. When is the last time a pitcher got a walk-off hit and started the next day?
Well, if I go much further, I'm going to give away my around the horn nugget. I don't want to do that.
Oh, is there an answer to that question?
There is a no, not to your direct question, but it does have to do with Fried's hit yesterday.
Now, do you leave? I bet you. Now, Ohtani doesn't count because, no. I mean, he's a two-way guy.
He's as big a two-way player as there is in Major League Baseball.
I mean, good gracious. And look what he's doing. 32 home runs, I think, at this point? I mean, just going nuts. I had to suffer through the Yankees and the Mets over the weekend. If you're a Yankees fan, it is tough being a Yankees fan right now. I know I get no sympathy from anybody. I don't want your sympathy, okay? I got a whole second half of a season still to come, okay? Still, it's hard being a Yankees fan right now because they are not well put together, or they just got a bunch of guys who are just having career bad years for the most part at the same time. They, from their pitching to their defense to their inability to run the bases, to steal a base, to their less than adequate defense, to their pitiful hitting, their lousy hitting with runners on base, their awful hitting with runners in scoring position. You name it. They're pretty much last in every category. And what really hurts is what Chapman has done. His ERA, he opened up the season, I think it was like his first 20-something appearances or so, his ERA was like under 1. I mean, it was microscopic. Ever since they started checking for the stuff, his ERA is 23. Now, does that tell you anything? I mean, I don't know if he was putting stuff on the baseball, but but he's just not, I don't know if he decides on his pitches or it's Sanchez or Boone or whoever. But like yesterday, Yankees are up 5-4. They're playing 2 7-inning games, a doubleheader. Go to the top of the 7th at Yankee Stadium. You're up 5-4. You bring in Chapman. I mean, you can't blame Boone. Well, you can blame Boone for maybe trusting Chapman, but he brought in his closer, up 5-4, and he's facing the first baseman for the Mets, the big-time home run hitter. And he throws 2 fastballs by him. Then he tries to throw a slider for some reason that just hung. And he hit it to right field for a game-tying home run. And then the Mets go on to score several more and win the game, And that's another blown save by Chapman. And fortunately, the Yankees came back and won the nightcap. Fortunately for them, so they go to the West Coast 1 game over 500. So tough being a Yankee fan right now, I tell you.
And I understand it. It does not help them that they are not playing well in arguably the best, if not the second best division in baseball, top to bottom, outside of the AL West. I mean, you've got 4 teams over 500 in the AL East. You take Baltimore out of the mix, as we always do at this time of year. But I don't know that there's a better division top to bottom, with the exception of the AL West, than what the Yankees are dealing with. And you can quickly fall out of the race. They're already 10 games back of the Red Sox.
Yeah, they're 5 games out of the wild card even, And as a Yankee fan, we don't even consider the wild card. That doesn't interest me,
Better this year.
Well, I shouldn't say that. We've made it the playoffs via the wild card in the past, but I like winning division championships All right, we'll take a break here on Sports Talk. Our lines are open on this July 5th holiday night. 888-898-2525, our number. Back in a moment.
Welcome to Tiny Stories with me, Tina Tiny. Today we're with Dirk, a didgeridoo artist.
Sorry, just warming up my lips.
So glad we're wearing masks.
I won $4 on Powerball, invested it all to crowdfund my first album.
Wow, a whole album of that.
I'm calling it Didgeridoo-Da-Day.
You're freaking me out, Dirk.
This one's for you, Tina.
And that's all from the South Carolina Education Lottery. Tell your tiny story at tellyourtinystory.com.
We've got Major Billy Downer with us here from the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources. Hunting season is upon us. Major Downer, how do we stay safe?
Smitty, that's a great question. Mistaken for game is a leading cause of hunting accidents each year. So this year, DNR is encouraging everyone to wear hunter orange and use a flashlight when traveling to and from your hunting location in low light. Remember, be safe, be seen.
And remember, life's better outdoors. Visit dnr.sc.gov for more.
The Southeastern Institute of Manufacturing and Technology at Florence Darlington Technical College has technology to grow your business. From a startup in our incubator to Fortune 500 companies, we can help. Whether it's 3D printing, advanced machining, or social media monitoring, our team is ready to assist. We can also develop virtual reality training and marketing simulations. For a tour of our facilities or a quote, call 866-304-7468. Learn more by visiting simt.com.
There are no words to describe it. The isolation, the boredom, the loneliness. If you're wondering where your teenage son or daughter's spirit went, you're hardly alone. The past year has been devastating, especially for them. But here's the good news. They might just find it again, playing high school sports. Workouts that stimulate, teammates and coaches that care. The sense of belonging so many of us have been missing lately. That's what school sports are all about. The sense of achievement is real, and the camaraderie is hard to beat. Coping with uncertainty is difficult, but school sports can help the teenagers in your family start feeling like themselves again. Encourage them to give it a try. High school sports, it's so much more than a game.
This message presented by the South Carolina High School League and the South Carolina Athletic Administrators Association.
Founders is offering a low-rate mortgage with up to $4,000 in closing costs to full-time hospital employees, honoring your frontline efforts against COVID-19. With no PMI, no origination fee, and no limit on the loan amount, you can't go wrong. Visit founders.com/HEC and apply for your hospital employee choice mortgage today. Membership qualification required. Terms and conditions apply. Institution NMLS identifier number 410646. Founders is an equal housing lender and is federally insured by the NCUA.
The future of golf is waiting for you at the Players Club. Rain, shine, or after dark, you can enjoy the game of golf anytime at Columbia's Indoor Country Club. The Players Club delivers the most realistic golf experience and offers more than 90 championship courses. Play or practice with the same state-of-the-art full-swing simulators used by Tiger Woods and Jordan Spieth. Visit maincoursesc.com to book a bay and become a player today at the Players Club, part of the Main Course, 1626 Main Street in Columbia.
Okay, we're back on Sports Talk here on a Monday night. Phil Kornblut and Chris Bergen and Brandon Alter in tonight for the vacationing Pat Daniel. Welcome back, the college graduates. Only took him how many years? How many years did it take you?
4.
4. That's good. I'm sure mom and dad were happy about that.
Only kid to graduate in 4 years, so they were very happy about that.
I mean, only kid to graduate in 4 years.
My brother did 5. My sister did 5. My brother did law school. So, yeah, only one, only doing undergrad and only 4 years.
Wow. Aren't you special? How many brothers and sisters do you have?
2.
One brother, one sister.
Yeah.
And one brother's a lawyer.
Correct.
And what's the sister do?
She is in the Army.
Oh.
Yeah,
awesome.
She got a master's in public health.
How about that? Well, we salute all of the Alter family, including you. Proud of you. proud of you for graduating in 4 years. Dad's bank account's probably happy about that too. All right, 888-898-2525. Don't forget, if you can't get us over the airwaves, and of course we want you to get us over the airwaves over one of our 28 radio signals around the state. There are other ways to get us if you lose the radio signal. Don't forget, we stream on YouTube and our YouTube channel. We want you to subscribe to that. Our YouTube is Sports Talk Media Network. We stream at Twitter. Our Twitter is at Sports Talk SC, and we stream on Facebook at Sports Talk Media Network. So just do a search, take you right to those spots. You can stick with us that way. And, of course, the audio stream, which is excellent, very easy to access through our website. Just click on the link on our website navigation bar where it says listen to the Sports Talk stream. It's a one-click process. We make it simple for you. It's a one-click process. One click and you got us. And if you click on it any other time of the day when we're not on, you'll get our Columbia affiliate, The Point Radio. So we kind of work together on that. We're streaming them for 22 hours and we stream us for 2 hours. But we are the best 2 hours of the day. All right, 888-898-2525 is our phone number. Let's go to your phone calls as we go to Bear in York. Hello, Bear of York. Good to have you with us.
Hey, guys. How are y'all?
We are terrific.
Wonderful.
Hope you are.
I'm good. I hope you guys had a good fourth. A couple of things, Phil. I'm a diehard Yankee fan, and they need to get rid of Boone right now. They never should have hired him in the first place. I never understood that hire. I would get rid of him, bring in Buck Showalter.
You still with us, Bear? You kind of dropping in and out. All right, so how much of this season do you put on Boone's back? Obviously, you must put a lot.
I put a lot on Boone. It's not just this year. It's last year, the year before. I mean, there's no way this team, with the lineup that we have, should struggle the way we do. I mean, I'm sorry. It's just I never understood the hire in the first place. So,
well, I do understand the pitching coach change because they got rid of a guy who is highly regarded and is considered one of the best pitching coaches in baseball. But they moved him on, and now, I mean, the problem with putting the blame on the manager in Major League Baseball, these guys are all paid, tons of money to be great players, and is it the manager's fault that they're not hitting with runners in scoring position or hitting for a high average? Is it his? He can only work with the hand that's dealt him, and they did lose their starting center fielder for the season. That's kind of disrupted their lineup, both offensively and defensively. So I don't know. I mean, is there anything in particular you can point to with Boone's management? The players seem to love him. Now, I would question. He's being stubborn. He went to Chapman yesterday in that first game of that doubleheader, and Chapman couldn't get, you and me out at this point in time. He's been wild. He's been wild. And then when he's in the zone, his breaking ball's hanging in there, and he's trying to stick with him and let him work his way through it. But at the same time, he's losing ball games.
Yeah, but when you have so many great players struggling at the same time, that's when I have to point to the manager. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm not one of those that quick to, want to fire the coach, as soon as you start struggling. But good Lord. But that lineup, the way we struggled, I don't know, man. I don't think Boone's the guy. I mean, I like Boone, as a person, but I don't think he's the guy.
Yeah. Well, okay. What about our poll question of the week? Are you a Gamecock Tiger fan or something else?
I'm a Tiger / Western Carolina fan. That was going to be my second thing. Oh. I know you don't really cover Western Carolina, but I just moved my boy in today. So he'll be playing for Western Carolina. And
nice. What position?
Be nice. They got him listed as a tight end, Braden Blackman. So,
nice.
He's out of Burns. So be interesting to see how things.
What's the feeling? What's the feeling up there about things?
As far as what?
Well, just the turn. They went through some turnover, did they not, with coaching in the last year or so?
Yeah, they did. They brought in, is it Kerwin Bell, I believe, that came from Florida?
Yes,
And,
the former Florida quarterback.
yeah, I read up on him. He's got a great resume. He brought a lot of coaches from Tusculum. One of them being his son, going to be the offensive coordinator. So yeah, there's a lot of excitement around the program. Western Carolina, honestly, they've been mediocre for the last decade.
Oh
so
yeah,
it's
I don't know.
Going to be exciting.
Have they been any good? Have they been any good since the Bob Waters days? I mean, I remember when they were, back then. I guess it was the 1AA. They were a 1AA power before it became FCS.
Yeah.
I don't know. They've been, much of anything since then. Hey, Bear, we appreciate your phone call, man, and enjoy the rest of the holiday and keep in touch. Yeah, and good luck to the sun up there. We'll be looking out for it.
Appreciate it, buddy.
Thank you, man. All right, break coming up. We've got Around the Horn with Chris Bergen coming up. We talk baseball. He's got some baseball highlights for us, and more of your phone calls as well. Phone number 888-898-2525, South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number. We'll be right back live here on Sports Talk.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's weather forecast. A few more clouds roll in this evening. We'll have a low dipping down to 69. Now look for 94 again tomorrow for our high with a 20% chance of some afternoon thunderstorms. It'll be pretty isolated. For Wednesday and Thursday, well, the rain chances, they increase. High temps in the upper 80s for you. I'm Kevin Cohen with your On Point local weather.
Is that crack in your windshield or your house bothering you?
Have you been meaning to have it replaced but just can't find the time?
Call Absolute Glass, voted Lexington's best glass shop for 12 years in a row.
We repair and replace glass on all makes and models.
We're the only local high-end auto glass specialist in the Midlands, and we'll come to you to make the process quick and easy.
With new technologies and vehicles, we can recalibrate your vehicle back to new.
Visit AbsoluteGlassInc.com to learn more about our auto, home, and business glass services. Just remember, if you can see through it, we can do it.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. The number of hospitalized COVID-19 patients jumped by nearly 27% over the 4th of July weekend in a hard-hit area of Missouri, where immunization rates are low, leading to a temporary ventilator shortfall and a call for help from respiratory therapists. The Delta variant, first identified in India, is straining hospitals in Springfield, Missouri, and raising fears that the situation could grow worse as holiday gatherings seed fresh cases. Missouri leads the nation with the most new cases per capita in the past 14 days. As of Monday, Cox Health and the city's other hospital, Mercy Springfield, were treating 213 COVID-19 patients, and that's up from 168 on Friday. The hospitals had just 31 patients as recently as May 24th. This is SRN News.
Are you looking for free checking and free savings? Dave Ramsey here, telling you to go see my friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union. They're not a mega bank that's so big they lose the ability to treat you like a human being. At Palmetto Citizens, you're not just a number, you're a member. Join today at any of their 14 locations or at palmettocitizens.org. Federally insured by the NCUA.
Hi, my name is Christina Freeman with Dominion Energy. Over the past year, we have all faced challenges and uncertainty. Together, we've responded with grace, respect, and hope. I'm here to tell you that our team at Dominion Energy is not letting up. We are here to help. To learn more about available utility assistance or payment plan options that fit your needs, visit DominionEnergySC.com/assistance. That's DominionEnergySC.com/assistance.
So your home is your castle. I work hard all day. My reward is time at my home with my family, living comfortably. I don't want to worry for a moment about bugs and pests. I've had Palmetto exterminators taking care of my home for 19 years. Now, that's a long time without worrying about pest control or infestation or termites, and that's because Palmetto exterminators takes care of it all. Might not matter to some people, but you know what it does to me? They're family-owned. They've been doing this the right way for over 60 years. The staff is courteous. They're clean. They're totally professional. And, it's termite season. Palmetto Exterminators offers a free inspection. They'll customize the program to fit your needs and your family's budget. They offer a lifetime warranty with their termite agreement. Now, I speak from experience. Like I said, 19 years with the same company. I can't give a more glowing recommendation than the one I proudly give to Palmetto Exterminators. Online, palmettoexterminators.net, or call my guy, Ron Byers, 254-5833. That's 254-5833, Palmetto Exterminators.
Hi, this is Marsha Klayman.
And I'm Karen Pickard. We're your hosts for the Positive Point on Aging.
We'll talk about aging gracefully and senior care every Tuesday morning from 8:30 to 9 o'clock a.m.
Join us right here on The Point for the Positive Point on Aging.
Brought to you by Oakley Village of Lexington.
There's never an HVAC expert around when you need one. Enter the field in less than 6 months with the Midlands Tech entry-level HVAC Tech program. Evening classes just twice a week for a seriously in-demand field in famously hot Columbia. Practical, hands-on labs with instructors who work in the industry. Focus on diagnosing and troubleshooting HVAC issues. Scholarships are available. Learn more at midlandstech.edu or call 732-0432. Tell them you heard it on The Point and get 10% off the cost of the program.
The only afternoon local talk radio in Columbia is the Afternoon Drive with Kev. It's all about you. It's your phone calls. It's my challenging topics. All the news, traffic, and weather weekdays, 4 p.m. on The Point.
The Point.
All right, we're back on Sports Talk here on a Monday night. It's live Sports Talk on this holiday Monday night, July 5th. This is the official holiday. I think people took holiday on Friday, so some people are getting a 4-day holiday. I'm sure if you work in the government or work in a bank, you got 4 days off.
Actually, can't in a bank. Federal law would not allow a bank to be closed for 4 straight days.
Really?
That's correct. It can only be closed 3. That's why they're taking today off as a federal holiday. But yeah, something about they can't keep us from our money for that long, even though now we're in the age of
keep us from our money
and computer banking. I mean, it seems ridiculous, but yeah, that is, if I'm not mistaken, that is federal law that banks cannot be closed for more than 3 days in a row.
That's great. I did not know that fact. I'm happy to know that I can get my money after 3 days. All right, 888-898-2525, South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number around the horn with Chris in just a moment. We go back to your phone calls. Couple lines are open. Andy in Columbia. Welcome in, sir. Happy holidays. Good to have you with us.
Hey, fellas. Hope y'all had a good 4th.
Terrific.
We did.
I can't really talk much about the Yankees, just watching them for the 3 games this weekend, Phil.
Mm-hmm.
But the one play that kind of stood out to me was didn't get overturned, but the ball that Nimmo hit the Voit at first base, that Nimmo actually outran Voit to first base. And it just showed that, defensively, these guys where's his head? He can't go 4 steps and Nimmo gets to the bag before he does.
Yeah.
And that's another issue I have. And we talked about this before. The video review. Are these guys in New York smoking joints and drinking brandy or something? Because they're showing on the screen in the stadium that Nimmo hit the bag before Voit hit the bag. Everybody saw it. But it comes back from the review that he's out.
Mm-hmm. I can't explain what happens there in New York with a review. I can't explain what they see in Secaucus when the NBA has one of its 85 reviews in the last 2 minutes of a game. I can't explain any of it. I just know one thing. We've made instant replay so much of a crutch that, what's the rush of an umpire or an official to get it right? Because it's going to be reviewed, and if you haven't gotten it right, then they're going to overturn it anyway. Where's the urgency to get it right? It's the interruption in the flow of the game really being impacted in every area by instant replay, I believe.
is New York not making as many calls against the refs so that they don't look as bad?
I don't know. I haven't heard that. You mean like a conspiracy sort of thing?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Only if it helps.
I could tell you
part
3
of
or
that,
4 plays that the Mets have had alone.
It's only if it helps the Yankees will they make that call. As part of the conspiracy, only if it helps the Yankees.
But I'll tell you what, Chad Green looked so good yesterday in that first game in the 6th inning.
Oh, if they had pulled him out in the 7th inning, it would have been a riot. There would have been a riot.
No, I'm talking about in the first game.
Yeah.
He looked great in the 6th inning,
and
Boone made the wrong move. At least he learned last night in the second game not to pull Chad Green and let him let him keep going.
Well,
because I'll tell you what, that guy, nobody on the Mets could hit him yesterday.
They pulled their starter yesterday with a lead after he gave up 1 hit, I believe, or maybe it was just 1 run he gave up, and they pulled him in like the 3rd inning. Now, I guess you're managing differently because it's a 7-inning game, but as soon as they pulled him, I think the Mets scored again. And
are you talking about in the second game?
In the second game,
are you talking about
in the second game?
I was going to say Cole in the first game got pulled in the 3rd or the 4th. The 3rd.
He got pulled relatively early. That's about 3 outings in a row where he did not get it done.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, Chapman looked terrible yesterday.
Well, let me ask you this. I mean, you watch baseball very closely, and you too, Chris. I mean, Cole, Chapman, are these 2 guys you think that are directly impacted by the search and seizure that Major League Baseball has on pitchers now?
Well, Chris, you want to go ahead first?
I think that's certainly possible. We've heard pitchers complain all year about you're going to change the rule midseason. No, they're actually enforcing a rule that's been on the books forever. The problem was they have just allowed these pitchers for the most part, and I'm going to say in all of them, I don't want to paint with that broad a brush, but they have allowed pitchers to cheat basically, and now they've asked them to reel it back in and pitch within the rules. So I think that's entirely plausible that perhaps in the ERA numbers you threw out a few minutes ago, Phil, with regards to Chapman in particular, I think point that out. There's something going on. And I doubt it's his losing his velocity and his arm slot and all the everything else that goes into pitching. So maybe there is something to this about him not being able to grip the ball maybe as tightly as he once could.
Well, there is an injury involved with Chapman. There is an injury involved. Yankees' feelings are hurt.
But, according, listening to SNY yesterday with Hernandez and Cone.
Oh, you don't watch the Yes Network?
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. I watch good quality broadcasting when I can.
What, you don't like Michael Kay?
Unfortunately, I had to listen to Alex Rodriguez last night. I don't know who's worse, listening to that or Chip Carey do games. My Lord, that guy. God, he is pitiful.
Well, he's not the same since he and J-Lo broke up. When J-Lo drops you, that's impacted a lot of men over the years.
But listening to some stats from them, as you say, since since they've started cracking down on the tacky stuff, Chapman and Cole's numbers have risen tremendously, and their control on their fastballs haven't been on their 4-seamers. I think they were saying the rotations on them or the spin rate on them hasn't been what they were. And they're not able to control the ball the way they were able to control the ball. So, but that's not listening to Ron Darling, who's a little bit better at pitching analysis than Keith Hernandez. But that's just where he was coming from.
Well, I like the Yankee tandem of David Cone and Paul O'Neill. They do a great job.
Yeah, but I'm telling you what, Hernandez and Darling, they don't pull no punches. They don't play home team. If the Mets are playing terrible and whoever's playing terrible, they don't hold back.
Well, you know who
let it go. They're not butt kissers like Chip Carey.
You know
Chip
who
Carey,
is
terrible.
You know who the TV play-by-play voice of the Mets is?
You're talking about Gary Cohen.
Gary Cohen.
Yeah, who was up in Spartanburg at one time. That's
we
where
worked together. We worked together. Gary Cohen. I worked with Gary Cohen and Gary Sparber, the 3 of us working together at a radio station in Spartanburg. It was the old 910 WORD in 1980. 283. A man by the name of Bob Brown bought the station and wanted a 24-hour local news and sports station in Spartanburg. And he hired a big staff, and we played music, and every half hour, top and bottom and quarter, there were local newscasts and local sportscasts, 24 hours a day for a while. Then he had to cut back. But he hired Gary Sparber, who was in Minnesota, to be the sports director. He hired me because I was unemployed and he had sympathy for me. And he hired Gary Cohen because he was a great talent. And Gary's girlfriend at the time was moving to Spartanburg to work at Channel 7, and he was looking for a gig. So the three of us worked together. Of course, they were great, and I just sort of, filled in and did stuff. And they went on to greatness. Gary Sparber became the first TV voice of the original Charlotte Hornets. Then Gary Cohen, his story's great. His girlfriend ended up getting a job in the Tidewater area, so he moved with her and called on with the station, WTAR, in that area that did the Norfolk Tides of the Mets organization. And he filled in, was so good, they promoted him to the Durham Bulls, which at the time was a Mets organization. And then from there, he got to call up to the Mets, where he did radio for a lot of years and then became their television voice, not to mention play-by-play for the NCAA basketball tournament, play-by-play for St. John's, play-by-play, or is it Seton Hall? St. John's or Seton Hall, play-by-play for hockey. His hockey is incredible. He did Olympic hockey for many times. So
that
anyway,
sport is hard to do well.
Yeah,
I mean, really
but Gary
difficult to
Cohen is
do
just
well.
a special talent.
Yeah, he's great. And, like, he's not a homer either. That's what I love about the three of them, is that they don't pull punches. They don't candy coat anything. When the Mets are sucking, they're telling you that's what's happening.
Yeah.
They don't try to paint anything what it is. And
on one of our baseball trips to New York many years ago, I contacted Gary Cohen, and he invited us up to their broadcast booth at the old Shea Stadium, which was nothing to speak of. I mean, you think it's some sort of fancy gig. It wasn't. It was cramped. It was compact, but it was neat to go in there, watch him call a half inning or something, and maybe they were heading into the post game, whatever. It was a group of us, about 6 or 8, and we kind of filtered through there. I think maybe Howie Rose might have been in there doing the post game, but that was pretty exciting to see that level of broadcast in front of you.
Well, they said now when they moved to Citi Field, it was like moving, to a luxury estate now instead of to that little box they were in Shea. So,
yeah, but nobody beats John Sterling and Susan Waldman. Okay, John? Susan, you just can't figure out baseball. You just can't figure it out.
I cannot believe you said that with a straight face, too.
Got to go. Thank you for the phone call. We appreciate it.
Y'all have a great day, fellas.
I'm sure we bored everybody to tears reminiscing
Thank you,
here.
Andy.
But that's a true story. It was Gary Cohen,
That's
Gary
good stuff.
Sparber, and then I was a throw-in. I was actually the first one hired because, well, I take that back. Gary was coming down, but it was going to be a few weeks, so he hired me to sort of hold down the fort until Sparber got there. And then Sparber was going to be the boss, and then Cohen joined us. And the three of us, we worked well together. I did a lot of local high school stuff, and we did, back in those days, we did the old Spartanburg Phillies games.
Mm-hmm.
Remember the Spartanburg Phillies?
I do. I actually do.
And they had me doing the pregame, and they would do the games from Duncan Park. Oh, you should have heard me butcher those names because, they were not made up of guys that grew up in Spartanburg,
Sure.
And these were young guys trying to make it up to the major leagues. Boy, I butchered those names left and right. But those guys were great. Friends at the time, still very good friends at the time. And I haven't talked to Gary Sparber in a long time. It's been many years since I talked to Gary Cohen, though I do think they would remember my name if it came up, But we're not like, close buddies or anything like that today.
He do
But
Rangers
we were back at
or
the time.
Islanders games. Did Gary do Rangers or Islanders?
I don't think he did a regular
He
hockey
didn't do
gig.
NHL, okay.
Yeah, but he did Olympic hockey, and he might have done some college hockey, but he was so busy, because the Mets, he would do he'd obviously go down to spring training in February, maybe March, right after. No, he would actually do spring training because I would see him from time to time at an NCAA regional, and he would just come in to do the weekend of the regional, then go back to Port St. Lucie where the Mets were training. So, and then you go all the way to the end of September. Then he would pick up college basketball.
Whew.
But I know he did do the hockey back in the day. All right, that's a great lead in to tonight's Around the Horn with Chris Bergen.
And as always, presented by our good friends at Farm Bureau Insurance. Take care of all of your insurance needs. Contact Buddy Bridges up in Lawrence County. His number is 864-923-2174. For those of you in the Midlands or surrounding areas, Alex Satterfield can handle your home, auto, life, whatever you need at Farm Bureau Insurance in Columbia at 803-749-9171. They present every night's edition of Around the Horn here on Sports Talk, and we try and find in mind something that you're not going to hear anywhere else. And Phil,
yes,
I thought this was perfect because here we go again with the debate as to whether or not we need DH in both leagues. I'm a National League guy. I love the pitchers having to bat, and we saw why yesterday. Of course, the Braves able to knock off the Marlins, had to come from behind, scored, 3-4 runs in the ninth to tie it. And then they ultimately win it on a Max Fried walk-off base hit in the 10th, 8-7. And did you know, Phil Kornblum?
Did not.
That per Elias Sports Bureau, since the RBI became an official stat in 1920, no Braves pinch hitter, who was also primarily a pitcher, had a walk-off RBI until Fried did so yesterday.
How about that?
Now, here's the question I have to ask you about that. Aside from that just being a staggering Tim Beret-esque stat, who found that for Elias?
You know,
who's doing the research on that?
The number of nerds who must work at Elias Sports Bureau would equal a small army, I'd have to say. I envision people sitting in a basement somewhere in a building in New York City, and they never go outside. They're pale white, and they've got these real thick Coke bottle glasses they're wearing, probably have curly hair, unshaven, probably a little bit fat, like some other people I see in here. That's what I imagine the people who work at Elias to look like.
Just remarkable. That was actually, I can't take full credit for this. The AJC had that stat in there. But, yeah, since the RBI became an official stat, no Braves pinch hitter who was primarily a pitcher had ever had a walk-off RBI until yesterday. So those of you who don't like the pitchers batting, take that. That's why they were always the best athletes on their teams in high school. These guys, and Fried's actually a pretty good hitter. He's the John Smoltz of his era now. I mean, Fried is not a stranger to the bat. And he was funny. He said afterwards when he knew he hit the ball well, he just wasn't sure it's going to drop in. He thought it would be a flare that they would catch.
But now explain this. Explain this. Why was he batting in the first place? They were out of position players, right?
That is correct. If I'm not mistaken, they actually walked the guy in front of him to get to Fried because, they're in extra innings, so they start with a batter on base. And I believe it was Austin Riley who was actually on base that moved over to third and then ultimately scored. And then he was actually called out. They scored the game-winning run before Fried even came to bat. They video replayed it, and he was actually called out. And so then Fried had a base hit to ultimately win the game. It was a crazy finish. I mean, for Rays fans, that's about as an exciting a finish as Sid's slide back in 1992.
You're putting this on the same page with that?
Well, no, but no. Gosh, no. But in terms of exciting finishes,
yeah.
In a regular season game against Miami in July, the reason you show up on July 4th is not necessarily for the game itself. Probably hoping to see some fireworks. Well, you did in the 9th and ultimately 10th inning. But no, nothing will come close in Braves lore to Sid's slide against the Pirates. Where were you when Sid slid?
When Sid slid, with that looked like he was carrying a piano on his back.
He picked it up around third base and dropped it somewhere around the dugout after he scored.
Yeah.
But before we wrap things up, and let me say this because I know you want to get into recruiting, so we'll wrap up the Around the Horn. But I want to get back to Aaron Boone a little bit later on because I have a question about his hiring in general. But our Around the Horn segment always brought to you by our good friends at Farm Bureau Insurance, Alex Satterfield in Columbia, 803-749-9171. Buddy Bridges, check him out in Lawrence County in the upstate, 864-923-2174.
All right. We'll get to recruiting after the top of the hour break, so stay tuned for that. Of course, it will be long, just like your hamburgers that you grilled yesterday and today. It will be meaty and it will be juicy as
Okay,
well.
good. Then I can ask my Aaron Boone question now, and we can get it out of the way.
Go ahead.
Regardless of what you think of him now, is he a guy that deserved to get a shot to be the manager of the New York Yankees? I mean, did his walk-off base hit home run against the Red Sox in Game 7 of the ALCS? I mean, it wasn't Bucky Dent's home run, but I mean, it was up there. But is that good enough to earn a job at the most famous franchise in all of Major League Baseball? I mean, he's cutting his teeth as a Major League manager with the Yankees of all teams.
Well, I think you look at a couple things there. I don't think it was that one moment in Yankee history that got him. I think it was at the time, which was only a few years ago. They had Joe Girardi for all those years. Before that, they had Joe Torre, and those were managers who managed by gut instinct and by their experience as catchers and handling pitchers and handling games that you handle as a catcher. I mean, the catcher's the guy behind the plate. And he's pretty much positioning everybody, dealing with the pitchers. And then Boone, of course, had spent years up in the broadcast booth, and he was one of those new age type of managers who they thought would deal better with the younger players in the locker room, and also would deal more with the sabermetrics side of baseball, that sort of stuff.
Right.
If he's doing all that, I don't know, but I think part of it was that, and I think part of it was the feeling was that he would be more in touch. He would be more in touch with the younger player, today's player. Maybe Girardi had aged himself out of New York. Of course, he's in Philly and he's doing okay with the Phillies. I like Joe Girardi, and I think I think catchers make great managers. Just like point guards make great basketball coaches. They have to direct everything. So yeah, I think it was that. I mean, it didn't hurt that he had a great moment in his career. He wasn't a great player by any means. He was not nearly as good as his grandfather or his father, but he was an adequate player and he had a great moment in Yankee history. But I think those are the reasons that he was hired at that time.
I just thought, when they hired him, and I get him being an analyst with ESPN probably certainly didn't hurt matters because they hear his name all the time, and he was popular at the time. But still, the Yankees aren't a team I think you would tinker with. You don't cut your teeth coaching the New York Yankees. You don't show up at the first job that you get as a head coach in the NFL. Probably shouldn't be with the New England Patriots now. Same thing in the NBA. Probably shouldn't coach the Lakers as your first coaching job, or the Celtics. Yeah, the Yankees are a team you should have to work as a manager elsewhere to be able to get that job. To me, I mean, that's Duke, North Carolina, that's Alabama, Clemson football. I mean, that to me is as good as it gets. Even though I cannot stand the Yankees, all fair point here, but I respect what they've accomplished over the decades of that franchise. And to me, I don't know that Aaron Boone, even though he played for them, he understands the pressure and what Yankees baseball means. I just don't see you walking into the clubhouse and that's your first gig.
I don't think you should have animosity towards the Yankees just because you're jealous that they're one of the 27 world championships.
And I'll admit that has a lot to do with it. It's
great
hard
sports franchises of our time. Let's go to, before we hit the break here, we got Sam up in Charleston. Sam, welcome in. Hope you've had a good holiday. Good to have you with us.
Thank you. May I add a comment real quick?
Yes, sir. Go right ahead.
Well, I just want to thank you for taking my call. Sorry, I've been really busy with work, and guess what I'm having for dinner tonight?
Guess what you did what tonight?
Guess what I'm having for dinner?
What you're having for dinner? Hamburgers and hot dogs.
No, I'm having a sausage sandwich with pasta.
Ooh, that sounds really good.
Yes, it does.
Hey, I do have a sports question for you, by the way.
Well, that's why you call it a sports talk show. That's good.
Yeah. Hey, can you guys do you think you guys talk more about the CFC basketball season? And number two is how did the Valley do?
How'd the who do?
The Valley from Arizona from the NBA Finals.
Okay. Thanks. Appreciate the phone call. Well, as far as College of Charleston basketball, again, we'll get into that come October when we have to. But I expect Pat Kelsey and them to be pretty good this year, his first year there. And then his question was, how the Valley do with
Phoenix do? Yeah.
How Phoenix? Yeah. Well, they did great. They're in the NBA Finals.
Exactly.
That tips off tomorrow night at 9:00. Who you got? I'm taking. Let's see. It's Milwaukee and it's Phoenix. Both teams have got superstars who are a little
Is
dinged
Giannis
up.
healthy? Is
Yeah.
Giannis healthy? I like the Bucks if Giannis is healthy, but if he's not and that knee's still bothering him, how do you count out the Suns? What they've been able to? Either one of them. The Bucks are in the finals for the first time since I was 4 years old.
74.
1974. I mean, it's remarkable.
Was that with Jabbar?
That would have been, yeah, I think so.
And they beat the Celtics, not in the finals. I think, was it the conference finals? They beat the Celtics, and Jabbar threw that sky hook from the baseline over Hank Finkel. You remember that?
Wow. I feel I was 4. No, I don't.
Oh, I remember it like it was yesterday. Henry Finkel, who really couldn't do anything as a basketball player except be tall, was covering Jabbar. I think he was still Jabbar then. I don't think he had changed. Maybe he was still at Lou Alcindor. But he hit that beautiful, beautiful sky hook and broke our hearts from the baseline. The most unstoppable shot in basketball history, no question.
By the way, before we do what's supposed to happen here, thank you for pushing the button. I thank you. Programming thanks you. America thanks you.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, fireplaces. Summer sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters. Rescuers are searching through fresh rubble after the last of the collapsed Florida condominium building was demolished. Correspondent Shelley Adler reports.
Now that the condo building has been brought down, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis says there are newly accessible areas, including master bedrooms.
The identifications will be able to accelerate now that they have access to that because of it had been inaccessible, and then because there were likely a lot of people who were sleeping at that time, unfortunately, in that part of it.
And there's good news on the weather front. Tropical storm Elsa is heading west of Surfside.
The impacts here should be incredibly, incredibly minimal. May get some rain. You may get a little bit of wind, but nothing like we were looking at maybe a couple days ago.
I'm Shelley Adler.
Tropical storm Elsa swept across Cuba today after hitting other Caribbean islands with a reported 3 people dead. National Hurricane Center senior specialist John Cangellosi says once Elsa makes landfall in Florida, he expects it will bring heavy rain and storm surge.
Some of the accumulations that are being predicted now are generally 2 to 4 inches, but there could be some isolated amounts up to 6 inches.
Forecasters say it will move on to the Florida Keys on Tuesday and Florida's central Gulf Coast by Wednesday. A newly released study estimates that Wisconsin's wolf population dropped by up to 1/3 in the months after federal officials announced plans to lift legal protections. Bob Agnew reports.
The study by University of Wisconsin scientists says people killed about 100 wolves in addition to the 218 taken during a February hunting season. The researchers say many of those non-hunting deaths resulted from poaching. They also say the findings suggest it may be risky to have another hunt this fall, although state officials are still planning one. Some other scientists are skeptical about the study itself. They say more research is needed. Bob Agnew reporting.
No stocks today because of the July 4th holiday. More at townhall.com.
Tell me why Relief Factor is so successful in lowering or eliminating pain. I'm often asked that question. Pete and Seth Talbot, the father and son founders of Relief Factor, tell me they believe our bodies were designed to heal. The doctors who formulated Relief Factor selected the 4 best ingredients, 100% drug-free ingredients that each help your body deal with inflammation. Order the 3-week quick start now. Discount it to only $19.95 to see if it will work for you too. Call 800-500-8384. ReliefFactor.com.
We all know there's a lot of pride that comes with having your own home. It's the biggest investment you'll ever make. It's the place you'll make your own. Angie is on a mission to help you love your home by taking on all the projects that come along with it. Angie takes all the help you could possibly need for your home and puts it right in the palm of your hand. When you download the Angie app, you can find a professional to fix an emergency leak when you need it. Handling your home has never been this straightforward. But now we have Angie, your home for everything home. Download it today.
Cybersecurity teams are working feverishly to stem the impact of the biggest global ransomware attack on record.
Some details are emerging about how the Russia-linked gang responsible breached the company whose automated network management software was the conduit. Thousands of victims have been identified in at least 17 countries, with ransom demands of up to $5 million reported. The FBI says the scale of the attack means it may not be able to respond to each victim individually.
Correspondent Jeremy House reporting the attack comes less than a month after Biden pressed Russian President Vladimir Putin to stop providing safe haven to Revel and other ransomware gangs. 130 countries have agreed on a 15% global minimum tax on big multinational corporations. The idea is to prevent companies from shifting profits to their subsidiaries that are in low tax or no tax countries. News and analysis at townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters in Washington.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's weather forecast. A few more clouds roll in this evening. We'll have a low dipping down to 69. Now look for 94 again tomorrow for our high with a 20% chance of some afternoon thunderstorms. It'll be pretty isolated. For Wednesday and Thursday, well, the rain chances, they increase. High temps in the upper 80s for you. I'm Kevin Cohn with your On Point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
Grills, outdoor kitchens, fireplaces. Summer sizzle starts with Bart. This is 107 The Point. Come on, press that button. Yo, The Point.
Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach the guys with the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number, 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now back to Phil, Chris, and Pat with the second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
All right, it's Phil and Chris and Brandon. Brandon in this week. Pat is off on vacation. I'll be here through Thursday. Then I'm gone for 6 shows. Be all yours, Mr. Bergen. Treat her kindly. Treat her kindly. But I don't usually discuss what I do, but I will tell you one thing I'm doing this coming weekend. I'm going to a Cubs game. Cubs and the Cardinals at Wrigley. I've never been to Wrigley, so I'm looking forward to that. Check that off the old box. That'll leave me about, let's see, once I visit Wrigley, I've probably been to, off the top of my head, probably a third of the major league stadiums. Let's see, I've been Old Yankee. I haven't been to New Yankee Stadium. I've been to Old Yankee Stadium. I've been to Shea. I've been to Fenway. I've been to Old Philly, the Vet, and I've been to New Philly, so I'll count that as 4. Been to Baltimore 5. Been to Washington 6. Been to Atlanta 7. Been to San Diego. Been to Anaheim. Been to Dodgers. It's 10. Actually, more than I thought. Been to both the old and new in San Fran. Went to Candlestick. Went to the new one. That's 11. That's everybody up that way. And then I think that's it. Where I'm weak is like in the middle part of the country. Coast, I'm pretty strong. Have I been to? Let me think. Have I been to? Haven't been to Tampa for a game, and haven't been to Miami for a game. So
What's the one sports? Did you go to?
Excuse me.
RFK or Nets Park?
I did both.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Well, let me
Excuse
back
me,
that
Brandon.
up. I think I visited. No. I visited RFK. I was there when the Beatles played. That's what it was.
Wow.
Nah, was not there when the Beatles played.
You saw the Beatles in concert. How old are you, Phil? What's the one sports venue that you could tell people that they would say, you've really been there?
This is a question?
Yes.
Oh.
What's the one sports venue that you've been to that would surprise people that you've seen a game?
I mean, some people would be impressed that I've been to Williams-Brice.
Valid point.
Keep it local. Or I've been to both Death Valleys, Clemson and LSU.
Yeah.
I've been to Lambeau Field. Long story for that. Long story for that. Won't go into it. Long story for that. But I have been to Lambeau Field, and a game was played there while I was there on the outside. But anyway, I have been to Lambeau Field. And been to for a game. That's probably about it. Well,
Mine's
besides,
easy.
I take that back. I mean, I've been to Madison Square Garden for games before. That's pretty cool.
I've been there for a game. That's really cool. I've been to Pauley Pavilion too.
Yeah, I've walked through there once on a visit, but they weren't playing. But that'd be cool. I'd love to go to a game at Pauley Pavilion.
Yeah, Coastal played UCLA out there several years ago. As a matter of fact, right after they had a flood at Pauley during the offseason and had to replace everything inside, had to redo the floor, the whole 9 yards. But I actually have a picture, I got it somewhere, of the opening tip-off that I've kept around for a long time because it's cool. You can see the UCLA logos, and just to be in that building was really, really special.
One of my boys has been to, not boys as in my kids, this is one of my boys. He's visited every major league ballpark. He's done the entire.
That's impressive.
Did the entire thing. Yeah.
My father and I have wanted to do the Northeast tour.
Mm-hmm.
Hit Yankee Stadium, Fenway, go through Baltimore, and go by the Hall of Fame too while we're up there. We just haven't had a chance. But that would be something fun, I think, to do.
Yeah. Took a lot of time. I mean, he did that like over a 20-year run. But he eventually got it done. Last one he got to on the list was Target Field up in Minneapolis to complete it. All right. Okay. Boy, this is sort of a reminiscing night. I guess you do that on holiday nights before things start to cook. You know, when we get back from vacation and all that, hopefully we'll be at the SEC Media Days. You know, I'm holding my breath because I got an email about a week ago or so from the SEC people saying, we're not sure we're going to be able to let everybody in for SEC Media Days. So waiting to hear back on that. I got a feeling they might just limit you. Like typically we stay all 4 days.
Right.
For all the teams. But I got a feeling they might limit the media to just the teams that they cover. You can be there for the team that you cover on a regular basis. And maybe one other. Who knows? Haven't heard. And we got ACC that same week. You're planning to be there in Charlotte. But we'll see what happens. Heck, if I'm free, maybe I'll relieve you of those duties and go to Charlotte. Unless you really want to
do that. Well, actually, I don't mind going to Charlotte. But if you want to do that, then I can fly out and we can use the Sports Talk Lear jet. We can go to New Orleans for the Sun Belt media days because for some reason the Sun Belt has decided it would be a good idea to go head-to-head with the SEC and the ACC on their media day.
Oh, if you want to be overlooked.
which is not a smart idea.
Go right ahead.
I don't think at all.
If you want to be overlooked.
But yeah, you know, if we want, New Orleans, not necessarily, heck, we could both go there. It would not be a bad spot to spend a couple of days.
You know, my entire life, I never went to New Orleans, and now I've been to New Orleans like twice in the last, year and a half, I guess. How many times has Clemson been there? Let's see. Why did I go? Let's see. I went there. No. I take that back. I'm lying. I was supposed to go a second time, and COVID got in the way this past January. That's right. I had to cancel out on the Sugar Bowl because of COVID. That's right. But I was supposed to go a second time. Let's update a few things. Our poll question of the week. South Carolina, what will their record be after their first 4 games in September? 317 votes. More have come in. 51.4%. See, our voting is much like voting for the mayor of New York. You know, in New York this year, they just had the primary, the Democratic primary. And so no longer do you just vote for one person. And that's how you vote in New York City. You can vote, you can put them in an order, 1 through like 4 or 5. I don't know how many. And then they tabulate. And like, I guess, you know, if you get third place votes, that counts towards being the mayor. If you have enough, I mean, I don't know how they calculate it and how they figure all that out, but you no longer vote for one person. You vote for like 3 or 4 people.
So it's like the preseason polls. You know, you vote Clemson, Florida State, you know, all
Yeah.
the way down in the Atlantic Division. And how many first place votes do you give Clemson versus Georgia Tech or North Carolina or whomever? And that's how you tabulate who wins the league in the preseason.
Crazy.
That
Only in New
is
York.
nuts. That
Only
is
in
nuts.
New York. Anyway, 317 votes, 51.4% say the Gamecocks will go 3-1. And 33.4% say 2-2. 8.1% say 1-3, and 6.6% say they will sweep September. sweep. That means winning in Athens. Of course, they did that a couple of years ago. You got an update here on former Gamecock assistant basketball coach, former Upstate head coach Eddie Payne, who became ill in the last couple of days.
Saw this over the weekend. As a matter of fact, when I opened up Twitter, I think it was this morning, saw that Coach Payne, who was a longtime assistant on George Felton's staff at USC before going to Oregon State and then ultimately being the head coach at USC Upstate, was hospitalized and had surgery following a stroke over the weekend. But Michael and I hope I get his last name right, Sandigo, who I believe is the athletic trainer at Upstate, had an update earlier this afternoon saying that Coach Payne is still in the ICU, but they are hopeful he will be moved out in a day or two. And they're continuing, obviously, to ask for prayers. And I was stunned. I knew Coach Payne actually was, as you've heard before, basketball manager at South Carolina when I was there. And with Coach Payne, he was on the staff at that time. Knew my high school basketball coach, just a wonderful guy, better person than he was a coach. And he was a terrific coach. That staff had its share of outstanding coaches. George Felton, the head coach, and then Eddie Payne, who went on to have some success as a head coach. Joe Dooley was an assistant with that staff, and he went down to Florida Gulf Coast. He was part of that Dunk City run that they had in the NCAA tournament. And, of course, who could forget Tubby Smith was an assistant as well before he went on to win the national championship at Kentucky. So, yeah, that one took me aback this morning. So I am very pleased that there is some encouraging news that Coach Payne may be turning the corner, which is outstanding.
I always liked Coach Payne. Stand-up guy,
Yes,
really was the when he was with George Felton on that staff. Every head coach needs that stabilizing influence on the staff. I kind of thought he was that guy. I kind of thought he was the X's and O's guy on that staff. Kind of thought one day he'd be the head coach at South Carolina.
I think you're probably right. May have been had he not had some other opportunities. But that staff sort of reminds me of the early days when George Felton, who was a terrific recruiter, hard-nosed coach, and surrounded himself with unbelievable X's and O's guys. I look at what Clemson has done on the football side. I can draw a very good parallel to them. Dabo Swinney, exceptional recruiter, great motivator, has surrounded himself with unbelievable talent in both his offensive and defensive coaching staffs. And I think George Felton saw that formula a long time before Dabo was still in college at that time when George Felton was head coach at USC. But I think you can make a very good parallel and draw a lot of comparisons between that staff and what they were able to accomplish. And I think had that staff stayed together when USC joined the SEC, it would have been a much smoother transition in men's basketball than it turned out to be.
Probably so. I think George Felton had he not had the issues off the court that seemed to dog him. Had he not had that, I think he would have been the coach at South Carolina for a long time. He was a tremendous recruiter and did a really good job of keeping the best talent in the state at home at that time. But too many other issues going on. The university couldn't put up with it. Newest millionaire in America is Trevor Lawrence. Glad to know he's hit it big. $24.1 million in guaranteed money. He has signed his contract. Actually did it yesterday, according to Adam Schefter. $24.1 million in guaranteed money. Standard fifth-year option. Signing bonus to be paid within 15 business days. How often does he look at his bank account? Let me call the number. Your balance this morning is $2,374. Okay, darling, I'll call back tomorrow. Next day. Your balance is $23 million.
So all of that has to be
$522.
All of that has to be deposited in 15 days.
Yeah, apparently so.
That's crazy. That is nuts.
Majority of compensation in 22, 23, 24 in roster bonus. Earned if on 90-man roster on third day after mandatory camp reporting date. All this NFL salary cap gibberish is way over my head when it comes to explaining these contracts. The main thing to know for him, he's got 24+ mil guaranteed moolah. Not a bad way to start.
You think the number one overall draft pick in the NFL is going to be on his team's roster, 90-man roster? Keep that in mind on the third day after mandatory camp reporting. I'm pretty positive that's going to occur.
Good chance. Good chance. Here's some news on a former Chanticleer, Devontae Jones, pulling out of the draft, and he's going to enroll at Michigan, where he declared as a transfer.
Saw his quotes, and I found something interesting in what he told ESPN. He said, quote, "I've decided to withdraw from the NBA draft because there's a stigma of the level I played at my 3 years at Coastal Carolina University. I had great conversations with NBA teams, but I would love to keep proving the world wrong because a lot of people believe I'll get to Michigan and, end quote, fall off." I don't necessarily disagree with his thinking, but if you can play, I think the NBA has proven that, as has the NFL. It doesn't matter where you play. I wish he had not said there was a stigma of playing mid-major basketball, because I think that only adds to people saying, well, it's not very good basketball. I get his point.
Mm-hmm.
He's thinking, had I played in a Power 5 league, I'd probably have a much better shot to go ahead and go to the NBA. The flip side of that is, and we'll find out if this is true, the flip side of that is he's probably not SEC or ACC player of the year as he was in the Sun Belt. And I'm not trying to dog Devontae, because I think he's a phenomenal player and a tremendous young man. He'll be a great teammate if he ends up in the NBA. I just wish he had not said there's a stigma of playing mid-major basketball.
All right. We've got recruiting coming up. I got to get into this. Of course, NIL last week began. And, we talked about this leading up to it because I didn't know. And, of course, you didn't know, and nobody really knew because we were going into this thing blindly. And we said, I kind of said it kind of half joking. And I said, this is eventually going to trickle down to the high school level.
Mm-hmm.
And, what's going to stop high schoolers from doing it? Kind of half jokingly say that. And you know what? They're doing it. They're doing it. I mentioned last week about a high school kid out in Iowa who said, my DMs are open, blah, blah, blah. And I noticed two guys over the weekend that I've been following in recruiting because they are targets, one of USC, one of Clemson, both from North Carolina. Travis Shaw, one of the top defensive tackles in the country, a Clemson target, and Eli Hall, also from North Carolina, not as heavily recruited or highly regarded as Shaw, but still pretty big-time prospect, and South Carolina has been after him. And so, in particular, Hall, over the weekend, he announced that he joined something called Nation Sporting Family as a Nation Sports athlete. He now has a clothing brand that will launch on July 8th. And if you click on it, and I clicked on it just to, learn more about it. So, they have an online catalog that features an Eli Hall champion hoodie with his personal logo on there for $50. And I mean, more power to you. Who's going to buy an Eli Hall
a great question.
champion hoodie for $50 stinking? Unless, this is a family member or friends in school. Here's an Eli Hall men's heavyweight t-shirt for $20. Eli Hall men's champion t-shirt for $30. How about a unisex fleece hoodie? $30. And now, so they're taking the clothes, they're putting your logo on it. You think they're going to sell this and you're going to get a cut and you're going to make all kind of money off of this. What parallel universe are you existing in?
I don't get it. And quite frankly, and we talked about this last week, Phil, I don't know that the college kids are going to reap anywhere close to the benefits they believe they're going to. More power to them if they do. But I still think the majority of college fans support the school, not the players. And I think you're going to find out that I don't care who they are, that sooner or later the merchandise gravy train is going to run out and people aren't going to be nearly as interested. And that is for top flight college athletes who have a shot to go play in the NBA, the NFL, or Major League Baseball. A high school kid, outside of him being my son, my nephew, my daughter, my niece, whatever the granddaughter, I can't imagine anybody is buying high school merchandise, especially at $50 a pop.
They're going to find out. You can go to Walmart and get the same hoodie for $25, and it doesn't have somebody's logo on there that ruins it. You know,
I can put my own logo on there.
Yeah, you could do whatever you want on there. But I mean, this is just going to be look. You know, it's like free love out there. Everybody, go get what you can get. All right, and I still say two words: bankruptcy and lawsuits. Not necessarily in that order, because you got to be signing contracts, don't you? If you've got, if you are quote unquote launching a clothing line through a company, somebody is signing a contract. Now, if you're a high school kid, you're under 18, I don't think you can sign a contract, right? It's not binding. That's not, you have to be 18 to sign a legal contract, don't you?
I believe that's correct. You
Yeah.
probably have to get your parents or a guardian to co-sign. for you.
Exactly. Somebody's signing a contract, and somebody's signing a contract on the other side saying, okay, you know, you're going to get, I don't know what the cut is. What do you think the cut is? You think the player's getting 30%?
Oh, gosh.
Of the
no.
gross?
I can't
No?
imagine it's that high, especially at the high school level. Whomever is putting this together is thinking, you need us a whole lot more than we need you. So we're going to take 85% and we will cut you a check for 15%. And that's still probably more money than they're making, you know, doing a part-time job. Well, I'm not going to go that far because I think they could probably do better at a part-time job at the grocery store or anything else after school. So I don't know, Phil. I fear, especially at the high school level, there are going to be a lot of kids that find out real fast that the real world and retail is a hard road to hoe, and they're going to be terribly disappointed.
Of course, we got a notification over the weekend from one of our loyal listeners here on Sports Talk, Hank, who goes by something else on Twitter. I'm not sure which one's his real name, the one on Twitter or the one he uses on the air. You know, but Hank, of course, he's in favor of all this. He thinks this is the greatest thing to ever happen in the sports world. And he forwarded me the tweet from the Miami quarterback who signed a lucrative deal. He's got something guaranteed, da-da-da-da. And he says, I'm going to share all this with my teammates. And so he sends me this, didn't write anything, but the unspoken message there is, see, Corn, all these football players going to make this money. They're going to share it with their teammates. They're not going to hog it for themselves. It's not going to be all for me. It's going to be socialism at its finest. I'm going to make $50,000 and I'm going to give 5,000 here and 5,000 there and 5,000 there. That's the big-hearted guy that I am because I'm the quarterback and I'm the one making all the money, but I'm going to share it equally with everybody. Right. Right. Okay. Let's see how many instances of that. And see, this is all something called Front Office Sports. You got so much crap on the internet. Then they got 74,000 followers. They might think of us as crap on the internet. But anyway, they write that many feared that NIL would divide locker rooms. Miami quarterback De'Aaron King hopes to do the opposite through team NIL functions. King wants to split money evenly with teammates who have to send stipend checks home to their struggling families. Okay. Well, you know what? Might be a case where that happens. Might be a couple of cases. I can't believe that'll be widespread.
Is he also going to do that for his teammates, former teammates at Houston as well? Or just in Miami?
Yeah, that's a good question.
You know, if he's as big-hearted, and I'm not trying to knock the young man. I hope he does. I hope he's able to be as generous as he believes he can. I just cannot see that many people being that interested. They'll want University of Miami gear, but are they going to want solely De'Aaron King gear that has nothing to do with the university to wear to ball games? I just don't see it.
I'm telling you, we have started down a very slippery slope here, and I don't think this will end well. I just don't think it's going to end well. I think we're going to end up with a lot more problems. The unintended consequences, as seems to always be the case when something is passed down involving college sports, there's always the unintended consequences. And I just see some bad behavior coming down the road. I mean, think about this. I mean, you could be a position coach. Let's just say you are you're Tyler Grisham at Clemson. Okay. You're probably on the low end of the totem pole in terms of salary at Clemson, being the newbie, right? I don't know what he makes off the top of my head. But, I mean, Justin Ross is launching his own line of whatever, clothing, and I don't know what else he's launching, soaps. Maybe he's launching toothpaste, and maybe he's throwing a little body lotion in there. Who knows? Underwear, socks, whatever they can sell. But I mean, it's totally theoretically possible that as a assistant coach, you're going to be coaching a player who makes more money than you do. Now, I mean, how's that going to work? When the player can basically, unless the player has is totally dedicated to you and all that, but you might get in his face one day and say, "Hey, man, you broke that route off, a half yard too soon. You got to." Well, I don't got to talk to you, man. I'm making more money than you are. Who are you talking to me? See what I'm saying? I'm not saying that would be the case in this case because there's probably a lot of respect there, but you know how human nature is.
NFL coaches, I'm sure, deal with that on a nearly daily basis.
Yeah, that's true.
Outside of the head coach. I mean, who's telling Trevor Lawrence, and he's not that kind of player, nor a young man from what we understand, but who's telling Trevor Lawrence, who just is about to pocket $24 million signing bonus on that coaching staff at Jacksonville outside of Urban Meyer, what to do? That's why LeBron James runs the NBA. He makes more money than any coach he's ever played for.
In the case of Trevor Lawrence, though, I would say that guy has always been respectful.
Exactly.
Of every coach, every media member, every opponent, and every teammate that he's come in contact with, as far as I can tell. I mean, I know I'm picking out some largely unlikely scenarios, but it could happen out there. It could happen in this new world. All right, we'll come back to the old world of recruiting after the break.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's weather forecast. A few more clouds roll in this evening. We'll have a low dipping down to 69. Now look for 94 again tomorrow for our high with a 20% chance of some afternoon thunderstorms. It'll be pretty isolated. For Wednesday and Thursday, well, the rain chances, they increase. High temps in the upper 80s for you. I'm Kevin Cohen with your On Point local weather.
Are you tired of high cable TV rates? Sign up for Dish today and get a $500 bonus offer while supplies last. Plus, lock in your price for 2 years guaranteed. Call All American Dish, your Dish authorized retailer now.
800-380-4452. 800-380-4452. That's 800-380-4452. Offers require credit qualification, 24-month commitment, early termination fee, and e-auto pay. Restrictions apply. Call for details.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Miami-Dade County Mayor Daniela Levine Cava says another victim has been found in the rubble of the collapsed condo building in Florida, bringing the death toll in the tragedy to 28. Another 117 people remain unaccounted for. Earlier Monday, officials said 3 more victims had been found in a new area of rubble to which they gained access after demolishing the remaining part of the building. Officials said the demolition late Sunday was crucial to the search and rescue effort and raised the prospects that crews could increase both the pace of their work and the number of searchers at the site. Miami-Dade Assistant Fire Chief Rady Jadala told family members Monday afternoon that few voids have been found in a new section of rubble. No stocks today because of the July 4th holiday. This is SRN News.
Have you walked around your own home lately? I mean, it is your most valuable financial asset. Have you spotted any cracks in the home's foundation? Now, if you have, don't panic. You call TerraTech instead. Why am I so comfy recommending TerraTech? Well, they check off all the boxes that matter to me. First, they're local. They're family-owned in the Midlands for more than 38 years. More than 10,000 homeowners, just like you and just like me, have trusted TerraTech to restore their homes. TerraTech combines their collective experience of over 150 years of professional service in the foundation repair industry, along with utilizing state-of-the-art products and solutions. TerraTech fixes foundations. They also repair or build retaining walls. They install French drains, and they offer free inspections and repair quotes. They stand by their work, and they can be trusted with protecting your home. And hey, if you don't want to take my word for it, they're also A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau. Find them online, TerraTechInc.com, or call TerraTech 791-8888.
Hi, honey. Could you drop by True Pharmacy on the way home and pick up another bottle of CBD for me?
Of course. I sure am glad that the CBD is helping you.
Yes, on my last visit to True Pharmacy, the pharmacist answered all my questions about CBD, got me started on a good dose, and I'm feeling much better.
I sure am glad we found True Pharmacy. Their staff is awesome, and they always take the time to care. True Pharmacy, located on Charleston Highway in West Columbia and Devine Street across from Bureau High School.
Is that crack in your windshield or your house bothering you?
Have you been meaning to have it replaced but just can't find the time?
Call Absolute Glass, voted Lexington's best glass shop for 12 years in a row.
We repair and replace glass on all makes and models.
We're the only local high-end auto glass specialist in the Midlands, and we'll come to you to make the process quick and easy.
With new technologies and vehicles, we can recalibrate your vehicle back to new.
Visit AbsoluteGlassInc.com to learn more about our auto, home, and business glass services. Just remember, if you can see through it, we can do it.
School is out, summer is here, and Woods & Water SC is your doorway to the outdoors.
The outdoors can be lots of fun, but it can be very unforgiving. So here are a few tips to keep in mind this summer.
If you go hiking, please stay on the trail and remember the principles of leave no trace.
If you're going boating, hook up to that engine kill switch and know the rules of the road.
Most of all, always keep your eye on the weather. It can change in a minute. So whatever you plan to do in the outdoors, tune into Woods & Water SC.
Because you never know who will be on or what we'll be talking about this Saturday afternoon.
That's from 3 to 4 right here on our home in the Midlands, 100.7 The Point.
Someone will be right with you. Please continue to hold. The Point.
The recruiting report on this July 5th here on Sports Talk is brought to you by our good friends at Sea Wells. Hey, they'll crank things back up tomorrow with the daily luncheon buffet. No holiday for Sea Wells after today. They get back at it, and you should as well. If you haven't been out for their delicious daily luncheon buffet, make sure you put that on your bucket list. 11 till 2, great selection of delicious food, expertly prepared for you at a very, very good price. And, of course, the very best in catering awaits you from Sea Wells as well. They'll come to you for your event, or they'll host at their location on Rosewood Drive in Columbia. And if you're looking for parking for South Carolina home football games, they've got some spots available as well. All the information you need on all of that's available at one number, 803-771-7385, the number for Sea Wells. All right, so South Carolina goes back-to-back in Georgia in getting commitments on Sunday and today. So a good holiday for the Gamecocks. And all those private commitments now that Shane Beamer had been tweeting about and guys were waiting at a particular time to go out have now come forward and gone public. So today the Gamecocks got defensive tackle Felix Hickson, 6'4", 280. He's out of Jackson, Georgia. And he was originally offered by the previous staff at South Carolina, and Will Muschamp and his crew identified him. And then when Beamer and company came on board, they picked right up and continued to show a lot of interest. Jimmy Lindsey and Beamer staying in touch with him throughout the process. And he came in and took an official visit in June, had another visit to South Carolina as well. And so he really, really liked the place, and they liked him. So they like his character. They like his speed off the ball. He's excited about getting a chance to play in the SEC. He's excited about Jimmy Lindsey developing him into a player that can play at the next level. Rated a 3-star and ranked number 84 defensive tackle nationally in the 24/7 Sports Composite. So he brings a total to 15 new commitments for the Gamecocks class, which totals 17 because, remember, Tyrese Ross, Teron Prunty, the two transfers, they count in this class. So there are 8 spots left for South Carolina at this point. Now, on Saturday, you had safety Emory Floyd of Powder Springs, Georgia. He announced his commitment to the Gamecocks. He chose USC over Florida and Georgia. And he took official visits last month to USC and Auburn, and unofficial visits to Georgia, Florida, and Alabama. Took his official visit to USC the last weekend of June, and then from that visit, which was his first with the Gamecocks, he felt like he had found the place. He said he loved the atmosphere, loved the coaches, loved the system. He said he got into the program and the playbook real easily, and it just felt like home. And he really likes Torian Gray, and they've got a very strong relationship. He plays safety in high school, but he could end up playing corner in South Carolina, or he could end up playing safety. They'll see when he gets there. He's ranked 24th among safeties nationally, number 33 prospect in Georgia, Florida State, Minnesota, Tennessee, Arkansas, Ole Miss, North Carolina, Florida, Notre Dame, Virginia, Kentucky, some other offers for him. Now, a major development for USC with defensive end DeAndre Martin, 6'4", 293 of Durham, and Life Christian Academy in South Chesterfield, Virginia. Last night, he told us he'll make a return visit to USC July 31st for the prospect cookout. And the next day, he plans to make his college commitment public. So South Carolina's going to get the last word with him, which I think is always significant to have that last word, especially the day before you're announcing. So does that mean South Carolina's in the driver's seat here? Well, we don't know, because he said he's not claiming any favorites right now, and he says he is in communication with all the others. But he did say the South Carolina visit will be his only visit in July. So that's kind of interesting. South Carolina had him at a camp, and he was offered by Beamer and Lindsay after they saw him work out in the Lyman camp. And they've kept in touch with him quite a bit. And he said he was impressed by the coaching staff and the atmosphere. And he said during the camp, he said he just dominated the offensive lineman. He said, I just came in and said, I'm going to come in here and play ball. And he said from there, it writes its own story. He reclassified from the 21 class, so his recruiting didn't start to pop up until June. Along with USC, he picked up offers from Virginia Tech, Virginia, Florida State, Tennessee, Alabama A&M, and Norfolk State. In June, along with the camp stop at USC, he visited or camped at Duke, Tennessee, Norfolk State, Virginia, Florida State, Florida A&M, and Virginia Tech. He's named the top 5 of USC, Duke, Florida State, Tennessee, and Virginia Tech. USC target safety Antonio Kite of Anniston, Alabama, committed to Alabama. That happened yesterday. 4-star running back Ramon Brown of Midlothian, Virginia, is going to announce on Friday. He's named the top 5 of USC, Penn State, Virginia Tech, West Virginia, and Maryland. Took officials to all 5 in June. USC visit was June 11th. USC target defensive end Tomiwa Durajai, Middletown, Delaware, has set August 7th for his commitment announcement. USC, West Virginia, Kentucky, Vanderbilt, Georgia Tech are his top 5. USC target 3-star corner Nick Cole, Donaldsonville, Georgia. He plans to announce July 30th. He took an official visit to USC June 11th. He's named a top 6 of USC, Miami, Florida, Ole Miss, Alabama, Auburn. Clemson target 5-star defensive end Jeremiah Alexander of Alabaster, Alabama. He plans to announce on Friday. So that'll be some big news for you on Friday. Chris, is Friday the 8th? What's today? Whatever the...
Yes. No, Thursday is the 8th.
Okay, I take that back. Thursday, he's announcing, not Friday. So I'll still be involved with things
My
then.
sister's birthday, as a matter of fact.
Oh, do you want that day off?
No. She couldn't care any less whether or not I had the day off or not for her birthday. I was just pointing out an absurd fact for you for recruiting.
Well, I
It
mean,
had
look,
absolutely nothing
this
to do
day
with
and age, people looking for days off any way they can get it. So you mentioned the birthday. I figured you wanted another day off, you know.
I haven't even taken my own birthday off in years.
Oh,
I'm not
okay.
taking my sister's birthday off for sure.
Anyway, Jeremiah Alexander of Alabaster, Alabama, he plans to announce on Thursday, same day as Chris's sister's birthday.
There you go.
He's the number 1 ranked edge rusher nationally, number 1 prospect in Alabama. He called Clemson his favorite after an unofficial visit there June 1st. He also took unofficial visits to Georgia and Alabama. He's also had Alabama, Tennessee, LSU, Georgia, Auburn, and Florida on his short list. So we don't know. We'll see what happens. Clemson has the power to pull a player away from Alabama, but he's got a lot of Alabama, of course, in his backyard and in his ears. So we'll see what happens here. Clemson target, 4-star defensive end Nate White of Philadelphia, apparently is ready to announce. He put on Twitter that he's pretty much made up his mind, didn't put a date out there. Took visits to Alabama, Ohio State, Texas A&M, and Florida in June. He's had Clemson on a short list as well, but I don't think he ever made it to Clemson for a visit. So I'd be surprised if he picks the Tigers.
Was he the player that tweeted over the weekend that with everybody else committing, I think I ought to as well? There was a recruit over the weekend that I saw. I'm not sure if it was him.
No, I don't think it was him. He didn't say that in his tweet.
But there was a player that said, I'm watching all these other commitments. Maybe I ought to do one myself. And I was thinking, I'm not sure that's the reason I would want to commit to a college.
Yeah, unless I just missed it. I don't think that was him.
It may not have been.
Clemson is listed among the top 12 with 2023 athlete Janelle Aguero, IMG Academy. The others are Georgia, Ohio State, Penn State, LSU, Texas, Boston College, Florida State, Alabama, Miami, Florida, and Oklahoma. Cornerback Juan Peterson of South Point committed to Syracuse. Chapin running back Bennett Galloway committed to NC State. He is really, really fast. He comes from the Galloway family of fast people and excellent running backs, as you know. Running back Reggion Bennett of Trinity Collegiate committed to Buffalo. There's your guy going to Buffalo. Spring Valley quarterback DQ Smith was offered by Temple. And let's see, other football. Coastal Carolina picked up a pair of commitments. One from athlete, I love this name, Matthew McDoom. He's from Winter Park, Florida. He's 5'8", 160 pounds, athlete, Matthew McDoom.
I'm only disappointed he's not a linebacker. I mean, isn't that the prototypical linebacker name? If you're going to develop somebody to be a linebacker, you'd have to name them. And you were fortunate enough your last name was McDoom. That is outstanding. Really outstanding.
You're going to have fun with that name over the years.
No doubt, no doubt.
Also, the Shots picked up tight end Grant Stevens out of Jacksonville, committing to Coastal Carolina.
They have done a terrific job of recruiting Florida the last several years. They have been able to mine several extremely good players out of the state of Florida.
Now to basketball. 6'3" Quante Berry of Cleveland, Tennessee, and attending school in Winston-Salem, committed to Providence. South Carolina was in his final 5. Former USC commitment 6'5" Carlos Williams of Gulfport, Mississippi, signed last month with Pearl River Junior College, Mississippi, after not being able to qualify for USC. Clemson target 6'4" MJ Collins of Westminster, Catawba, committed to Virginia Tech. 4-star 6'6" Josh Reed of Atlanta, been on the radar of USC and Clemson, been talking to Will Bailey at South Carolina, Antonio Reynolds Dean at Clemson. He also been talking a lot to Frank Martin at South Carolina, trying to figure out an official visit with the Gamecocks. And they've been talking to him for a while. His mom is from Rock Hill. Grandmother lives in Rock Hill. So both schools are not too far from where he has family ties. And he has the same feelings for both schools, likes them both at this point, and thinks he could be really good and a fit for either. He's not had a chance to visit either one yet. He has been to Liberty, Rice, and Northwestern officially, Georgia Tech unofficially, and he's looking at October for making his commitment. He averaged 17 and 8 last season, ranked number 34 nationally. And, I wrote this story last week, but we failed to mention it on the show. 7'1" center Christian Reeves of the Cannon School in Charlotte took an official visit to USC last week. Frank Martin and his staff been recruiting him for a long time, and Reeves says he's a focal point for the Gamecocks. He's a player they really want. They're going to push him to get better in practice. And he said the coaching staff on the visit, they were great to him, and they have a lot to offer to help him achieve his goals. He's been feeling good about South Carolina, and after the visit, he continues to feel really strong about South Carolina. He said they're definitely high on his list, but he's going to take some more officials and unofficials. That was his first official visit, so he wants to get more in now that he's moving into that senior phase where he only gets 5 more official visits. So he'll definitely take more officials. He said Clemson, Pitt, and Virginia Tech have also been talking to him about taking visits. They have not offered. He also has Tulsa, East Carolina, Lehigh, USF, Charlotte, Boston University, and East Tennessee State as offers. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the recruiting report for this holiday night, July 5th, 2021. Full of good stuff. And we'll have more for you tomorrow. You can be rest assured about that. All right, we'll hit a break here on Sports Talk. Got a few minutes left. We'll kick around some things, including your comments. If you want to join us, 888-898-2525. Be right back.
Every day, you make choices that protect your family. At Farm Bureau Insurance, we're here to help make some of those choices easier. Your local Farm Bureau insurance agent is on hand to provide the reassurance and protection you need. Call today for your free no-obligation review for auto, home, and life insurance that's custom-tailored just for you.
Call Buddy Bridges in Lawrence County at 864-923-2174, covering Lawrence, Clinton, Joanna, and the shores of Lake Greenwood.
South Carolina Farm Bureau Mutual Insurance Company, Southern Farm Bureau Casualty Insurance Company, Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance Company, Jackson, Mississippi.
Enjoy life to the fullest with tasty peanuts that pack a lot of flavor. When it comes to eating peanuts, the research is clear. Peanuts improve your health. Peanuts, a snack that gives back. Crack some open today for a nutritious, sustainable, and earth-friendly treat. Be sure to stop by your local grocery store produce section to pick up a bag of roasted in-shell peanuts. Brought to you by the South Carolina Peanut Board. Visit aboutpeanuts.com for delicious peanut-based recipes.
Hi, it's Phil with longtime attorney Jim Corbett. You do car wreck cases?
And truck wrecks, any serious injury cases, and work injury.
How about when grandma's wills change right before the end or someone spends all their money?
Oh, yes, and business lawsuits.
How about problems with insurance companies?
All the time, like after a fire or when a life insurance claim is denied.
JimCorbettAttorney.com has your email and phone number?
That's Corbett with an E, www.JimCorbettAttorney.com to email or call me to mediate, try, or settle your case.
Membership with the Founders Federal Credit Union is a slam dunk. With services like Founders Online and the Founders app, you'll enjoy all the perks of a big bank with local personalized service. Not a member? Joining Founders Federal Credit Union is easy. Visit relaxjoinfounders.com or one of our more than 30 locations to see if you qualify for membership. Relax with Founders. Services require credit evaluation. Terms and conditions apply. Founders Federal Credit Union is federally insured by NCUA.
Hey, folks, mortgage rates have dipped to their lowest levels in recent history. And with home values up in many areas, now may be the perfect time to refinance your home. Whether you're looking to lower your monthly payments, free up cash for home improvements, or just pay off your home faster, a quick call to the one and only Stuart Wingo of Ameris Bank could save you money. If you're looking for competitive rates and exceptional service, call Stuart Wingo. 803-319-1777. That's 803-319-1777. You will save money just like I have so many times over the years. You can also visit him, amerisbank.com/Stuart Wingo. Stuart Wingo, the man with the plan for all your mortgage needs.
Life, it has its ups and downs. Sometimes it's little things like hitting every red light or dropping your cell phone. Maybe it's the bills, rent, or pressure at work. But when it comes to the South Carolina Education Lottery, you should never feel like playing will solve everything. The lottery is a game. It's played for fun. So set a dollar amount. Expect not to win and make sure responsibilities, family, friends, and work come first. Visit playresponsiblysc.com.
The future of golf is waiting for you at the Players Club. Rain, shine, or after dark, you can enjoy the game of golf anytime at Columbia's Indoor Country Club. The Players Club delivers the most realistic golf experience and offers more than 90 championship courses. Play or practice with the same state-of-the-art full-swing simulators used by Tiger Woods and Jordan Spieth. Visit maincoursesc.com to book a bay and become a player today at the Players Club, part of the Main Course, 1626 Main Street in Columbia.
Can't believe we're down to the final 7 minutes of this Monday night. Time flies when you're having fun. So I did want to mention this, not that I give a flying about, and you don't even have to bleep me out if I don't say the word. Not that I give a flying about See how that works, Chris? You don't have to.
I do. That's nice.
Yeah. But the rankings, because I know people like rankings, recruiting nuts, as I originally deemed them, recruit nuts back in 1986, they like lists and they like rankings. You know, it must make it simple. It must make it simple. So South Carolina has gone from the 80s to number 16 in the 24/7 sports composite ranking. And on top of that, that would put them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th in the SEC.
Really?
As of right now. I mean, there's a lot of recruiting to be done, and there's a lot of movers and shakers out there who are going to move and shake up things. But, I mean, you see some folks up here that you figure aren't going to stick, like Rutgers. They're number 11. Are they going to stay there? Boston College is number 13. Missouri, 15. There's South Carolina at 16. Clemson's 24. You mean to tell me the Gamecocks are out recruiting the Tigers? What in the name of of 15 different Clemson recruiting websites are we talking about? You guys aren't getting it done. Gamecocks are kicking Clemson's butt, B-U-T-T, if you go by the rankings. Now, Clemson still has some big horses out there to pull in that'll change things. You go to rivals, they have the Gamecocks at number 13. We said earlier 12. They've dropped a spot in less than 2 hours. How does that happen?
Did they reevaluate the kid that signed with or committed to Alabama?
Probably.
Maybe that's what helped him. Not that Alabama needs any help.
Actually, this will shock you. This will shock the living bejesus out of you. South Carolina is 13. Alabama is 17. The Gamecocks, according to rivals, are out recruiting Alabama and Clemson and Southern Cal. So they're 13, which would put them in the SEC 1, 2, 3 in the SEC.
Behind Georgia and Texas A&M, I'm going to take a guess.
LSU.
Georgia, though.
Now, I mean, seriously, what do you think about that?
It's important because you've got to have the players to get where Alabama and Clemson is. But I really, really doubt Nick Saban and Dabo Swinney are losing sleep over the fact that right now they are sitting in a recruiting ranking behind Shane Beamer, who has yet to coach a college football game as a head coach.
I'm just saying South Carolina is wiping Clemson's nose in recruiting.
I think
today. I'm only going by
remarkable story.
I'm going by the rankings. That's not a personal opinion. The rankings say this. And Ohio State's number 1. Ohio State's having a killer class. I'm just saying what the rankings are saying. Don't blame me. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just passing along the information that you people like to hear about rankings. Quickly. Tiger Bryan. Over in Lancaster.
I hope y'all had a wonderful 4th of July, and I appreciate all our military that sacrifice their life for our. But listen, you ain't the messenger. You call the truth. You need to be a preacher, Corn.
Preach it.
You can preach. You can be a preacher, man.
Preach
the word, man.
I think I should have been a Methodist preacher when I was growing up.
I don't know about that now. You got to be one of the Southern Baptists where you got to make them squall and holler and carry on and start talking in tongues. I've talked to y'all in tongues a couple times.
You know what? The Southern Baptists might have been better because you can preach on Sunday and party on Saturday, or it's a party on Saturday and preach on Sunday, right?
Yep, that's exactly right. But hey, I'm gonna tell you what, I appreciate it. Hey, and really, Clemson, you talking all that just one day, one season. All right, when they get on the field, when you have a recruit to South Carolina, if they not just 5 stars just above the other, they had nobody be able to make them better players. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, hey, Clemson, Dabo, and our crew, we'll get a 1-star, we'll get a walk-on, and he'll be a damn 5-star. He'll be he'll be playing in the NFL.
Tiger Bryan, here's breaking news for you. Your backup quarterback is a walk-on.
That's exactly right. Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about.
So
He's
you better keep your starter upright. You better not be running him out there. You're a sprained ankle. You're a hamstring away. You're a broken finger away from 7 wins.
Man, I don't want to put no bet on the line, but
I mean, you got to be. There has got to be concern among Clemson people about the quarterback situation behind Uyangalele.
Man, you got to worry about that. That young man right there. He's a young, better than Trevor Lawrence. He'll be better than Trevor Lawrence.
Who? You mean Uyangalele?
Whoa.
Yeah, he'll be better than Trevor Lawrence. Yep, he'll be better. He's bigger.
But I'm not worried about him. Yeah, if he stays healthy, you'll have everything you want. I'm just saying you don't have a quarterback prepared behind him. Clemson's had that luxury in recent years of always having a quality winning quarterback in the background if something happened to the starter.
You talking about the Helms guy behind him, the walk-on. Hey, did you see him? And
yeah,
he probably ain't gonna be able to take the hit.
He's a super kid. I know his dad, and he's a super, and he's done great to go in there as a walk-on. But come on, big drop off if something were to happen. Clemson fans have got to hold their breath. We'll pick up on that tomorrow, Chris. Have some fun kicking that around. And thank you, Brandon. And thank you, everybody, for being with us on this July 5th holiday night. We've enjoyed it. Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow.